Boredom is a state of being where you might have a lack of interest or engagement with what's around you or with what you're doing. It can be described as a feeling of restlessness or dissatisfaction. You might be actively doing something but just feel like what you're doing is not fulfilling. Being bored usually means you have a lack of stimulation or challenge, which can lead to you feeling lazy, exhausted, or irritated. Boredom can be positive or negative too, depending on your mindset. It can lead to feeling frustrated, anxious, or depressed, and can lead to unhealthy behaviors like overeating or substance abuse. But boredom can also be an opportunity for creativity, self-reflection, and personal growth. Let's dive into boredom and find out more about it. The science of boredom. Boredom is a complex state of mind that happens when people perceive their environment as lacking in stimulation or challenge. In other words, when we feel like we're in a rut, we're more likely to feel bored. Neuroscience research has shown that boredom is associated with decreased activity in the brain's prefrontal cortex, which is the control center for our brains. When we're bored, this part of our brain isn't as active as it is when we're engaged in stimulating activities. This can make it harder for us to concentrate and make decisions. When we're engaged in something that's new or exciting, our brains release dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter that's associated with pleasure and reward. But when we're exposed to the same thing over and over and over again, our brains become familiar with that stimulus and our dopamine levels drop. This can also lead to feeling bored or disengaged. Not only can boredom be a drag, but it can also have physiological effects on our bodies. Prolonged periods of boredom can lead to increased levels of cortisol, which is a stress hormone, and it can negatively impact our immune system and lead to a range of health problems. So it's not just in our heads. Boredom can have real consequences for our physical health too. But here's the interesting part. Some research suggests that boredom may have evolved as a mechanism to prompt people to seek out new experiences and opportunities for growth. So when we're bored, it might actually be a sign that we need to switch things up and try something new. So what are the causes of boredom? Lack of stimulation is one of the main causes. When we're not being challenged or engaged in something interesting, our minds start to wander and we become bored. But it's not just about external stimulation. Our internal state plays a role as well. One study found that people who are more prone to boredom tend to have lower levels of dopamine activity in the brain, which means that they actually need more stimulation to feel engaged. Some people just might be wired to get bored more easily. When we feel like we're stuck in a situation we can't change, we're more likely to feel bored, and this can happen at work, at school, in our personal lives, so many places. Research has shown that our smartphones and social media also contribute to our feelings of boredom. This is because scrolling through our feeds becomes a mindless activity that doesn't really provide any stimulation. And it's not just social media that's the culprit. One study found that technology use in general can make us more prone to boredom. And that might be because technology use is passive and it doesn't provide the same level of stimulation that we need in order to get rid of boredom. And social media use also puts us in a comparison trap. Have you ever asked yourself if the way that people glamorize their life is actually the way you want to live yours? You need to start questioning your own values and beliefs. What do you want out of life? What kind of car do you want to drive? How much money do you need to make per year? What type of career do you want to have? You're bored because you aren't living in alignment with your values and beliefs. You're not chasing what you actually want out of life, and you're actively choosing to settle, taking the easy route instead of challenging yourself to do better. There are a lot of negative effects of boredom. Prolonged periods of boredom can lead to unhealthy behaviors like overeating or substance abuse. One study found that boredom is associated with increased alcohol consumption and smoking cigarettes. It can be bad for our mental health, but can also have negative physical consequences. A study published in the Journal of Experimental Brain Research found that participants who were induced to feel bored actually performed worse on cognitive tasks than people who weren't. In other words, being bored can actually make us dumber. Boredom is a form of stress. When we're bored, we're not getting the stimulation we need, which can lead to feelings of restlessness and discomfort. This can cause our bodies to release stress hormones like cortisol, which have disastrous effects on your health. There can be a lot of positive effects of boredom too. There is a way to use boredom to your advantage. When it's used properly, it can lead to increased creativity and problem solving. When we're bored, we're more likely to daydream and let our minds wander, which can lead to creative ideas. Boredom can also lead to increased mindfulness and self-awareness because we focus on our internal experiences, which can lead to self-reflection and understanding. Sure, boredom can be a drag, but it doesn't have to be all bad. With a little creativity and effort, you can actually use boredom to your advantage. Have you ever heard of mind wandering? When you let your mind wander, it can lead to increased creativity and problem solving. Ever have a creative thought when you're taking a shower? The next time you find yourself bored, take a break from what you're doing and let your mind wander. You might come up with some new ideas or solutions to problems that you've been struggling with. Being bored will get you to think, and that can lead to increased mindfulness. This is just paying attention to the present moment without any sort of judgment or distraction, and becoming mindful can actually lead to reduced stress and anxiety, as well as increased creativity and focus. You can also try boredom-based activities which are designed to be boring or monotonous, but they can still be engaging and rewarding. Things like knitting, painting, or doing puzzles can be boredom-based activities that will also help improve your focus and mindfulness. Boredom doesn't have to be a bad thing. It can actually be a valuable tool to boost creativity, mindfulness, and overall well-being. By engaging in things like mind wandering, practicing mindfulness, and participating in boredom-based activities, you can flip the script and turn boredom into an opportunity for personal growth and self-improvement. So the next time you find yourself feeling bored, don't fight it. Embrace it and use it to your advantage. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you're looking for ways you can improve your focus, you should also check this video out.